Family photos bring back wonderful memories for Evelyn and Jim Piazza, including pictures of their two boys growing up in New Jersey. But not long after their son Tim went off to college at Penn State, it all came crashing down.
Once we got there and we met with the surgeons, I never in my wildest dreams ever thought that he was going to die.
19-year-old Tim Piazza died on February 4th, 2017, after an alcohol-fueled hazing incident at a campus fraternity house. The tragic story made national news. However, the Piazza family made a decision to try to turn that tragedy into something positive.
We felt an obligation. We had to do it, because if we don't do it, who's going to do it?
Tim's brother Mike was also a Penn State student at the same time, and the first person to see Tim at the hospital.
When I tell Tim's story, I do it from Mike's perspective, through his eyes. And I have everybody close their eyes and imagine that this is happening to their brother.
Jim Piazza says the university's president at the time, Eric Barron, brought the idea of a research center with Tim's name to the Piazza family.
So I started with President Barron was denying culpability at one point. He came around and he made a real difference, in my opinion.
Born out of that idea, the Timothy J. Piazza Center for Fraternity and Sorority Research now emphasizes campus-based preventative strategies to fight hazing, dangerous drinking, and violence nationwide.
We're not saying kill fraternities. We're saying let's make them better.
But that's not an easy task on college campuses like Penn State.
You cycle students through every 4 years, so the learning process almost has to become a cultural change. And it takes a while to change a culture.
The Piazzas and their attorneys were key advocates in pushing Pennsylvania to pass what's considered to be the toughest hazing law in the United States.
We've come up with a model law that we've since shopped around to other states there's only 16 states right now that have felony hazing laws, and they've all been because there was a death first. So we're just trying to get states to protect their students.
Although the Piazza Center and the primary focus of their legislation efforts are based here at Penn State and in Pennsylvania, their impact is felt nationwide, like here at LSU. Dr. Kimberly Davis is based at LSU, and she serves as a data analyst for the Piazza Center.
Several of our campuses are in states that have pretty strict and robust hazing laws. And as a result of those, we heard from students that really more than any sort of institutional policy, the laws are what change their attitudes and behaviors. 44
of the 50 states now have an anti-hazing law. In New Jersey, it was the words of a young boy that made a difference.
One of Tim's best friends lived down the street from us, and his younger brother, as part of a Boy Scout project, wrote to a local state senator and said, we need to change the hazing law in New Jersey, and it was already a felony. He said, but we need to make it tougher because Tim was my friend too.
The Piazza's efforts have also been influential in new federal legislation that just took effect this year.
The fact that we were part of the Stop Campus Hazing Act that got passed on a federal level, I think that's huge.
Tim was an engineering major, and in addition to their anti-hazing work, the Piazza family began a foundation in Tim's name that holds a golf outing as a fundraiser to help achieve one of his goals.
We fund prosthetics, specialized prosthetics for kids. Tim really wanted to make prosthetics, and he wanted to help kids and veterans.
The family estimates they funded more than 200 kids for specialized prosthetics, including running blades or attachments to allow them to ride bikes.
That makes us happy, because that is something that I think carries on Tim's legacy.
But no matter how much good the family does, nothing can make up for what they lost.
I would say it's satisfying. Of course, you're doing some good stuff, hopefully, and making a difference, but I mean, I'd rather have my son back.